France falls to Germany. Bugs Bunny makes his debut in a wild hair, even though Bugs Bunny didn't get his name until 1941. The year is 1940, and this glamour car was on offer by Packard. But before getting into all of it, I'm Jay. Welcome to What Is Like, the automotive channel that digs the cars from yesteryear. We cover the classics, vintage, some exotics. We love the orphan cars and car brands that are frankly being forgotten. We talk history, design, and specs of these rolling works of art. If that sounds like a channel that you will totally dig, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. This absolutely stunning Packard Darrin is currently on exhibit at Canton Classic Auto Museum, located in Canton, Ohio. If you're ever out this way, be sure to definitely check this place out. Another cool thing is most everything runs and they drive a lot of these cars. For more information, hours, and pricing, be sure to click the link below after the show. Special thanks to Bill over at Vintage Car History for putting this together. If you dig the people behind the cars, you should check out his channel. He did a behind the scenes of the Cadillac V16 video. I will link that in the description. His channel is in chronological order of automotive history. Also, one more announcement. I'm going to be at Mecum in Hershey on Saturday. If we bump into each other, it's totally cool. We can hang out, whatever. If you're in the area, shoot me a comment in the comment section below. 1940 was kind of a new era for Packard. The front fascia and grille was totally redesigned, going from a large, imposing grille to a more slender grille, flanked by smaller grilles on both sides. Also, 1940 was the first year without the 12, which was their flagship model. But not just the 12, the Standard 8 and Super 8 were also somewhat semi-retired. 1940 Packard model lineup. You had the 110 in the basement, which took the place of the 115C, six-cylinder model, followed by the 120. I guess you could call this the Standard 8. Followed by this 160, which was the Super 8, and then at the top of the heap was the 180, the new flagship called the Custom Super 8. Packard would offer the 180 Custom Super 8 from 1940 to 1942. 1940 Packard 180 Custom Super 8 could be had in three wheelbases: 127 inches, 138 inches, and 148 inches. Let's talk Darrin. Howard Dutch Darrin was a freelance, meaning he wasn't tied to any particular company, worked for himself, automotive stylist. He built a few custom Packards in 1937, but what he really wanted to do was sell Packard on offering Darrin-bodied cars straight from Packard. Think back to 1934. LeBaron offered something very similar to that. That's what Darrin really wanted. Packard didn't seem too keen on the idea until a very gorgeous looking Packard Darrin was parked right outside Packard dealer annual conference. Packard executives were just blown away by the design. Darrin not only offered the Victoria, which was their convertible offering, but also offered the custom sports sedan and the sports convertible sedan. Two models I never knew existed. Howard Darrin would build Packard Darrins from 1937 to 1942. 1937 to 39, they were custom-built cars, and the caliber of car that this was a car, say, like Clark Gable would own. 1940 to 1942, they could be ordered directly through Packard. Darrin didn't have enough space to build all of the cars on order at his shop in Hollywood, California. So some of the work had to be outsourced to American Central Manufacturing, which interestingly was one of the remnants of the Auburn, Cord, and Duesenberg conglomerate. In 1940, Packard would share bodies, hoods, and fenders across all lines. This decision made it look like Packard was cheapening out. 160 and 180 series shared the same bodies, but the 180 was king of the hill and featured finer interior detailing, only with the best fabrics, leather, and carpeting. This could be me, but this car, this Packard Darrin, was parked next to a 37 Cord 812, and I never drew the similarities between these two cars, but it's super interesting. It's mostly the fenders. Just look at the fenders and how low slung these two cars are. So let's compare. A little bit different today. 1939 on top, 40 in the middle, 41 on the bottom. Look at the front fascia on the 39 versus the 40. The 40 has a smaller center grille that is flanked by two smaller grills on both sides. The 41 appears to have a taller hood, but it might be the fenders that are different that gives it the impression that it looks like it has a taller hood. The headlights are mounted in the fenders themselves as well, whereas on the 39 and the 40, they are on pedestals. Fender marker lights are not on the 39, but can be found on the 40 and 41 different designs. Looking at the side profile, gas caps on the 39 and 40 versus a gas door found on the 41. 41 has way more body moldings on the side than the 39 and 40. Exposed hinges on the 39 and 40. Also notice the hinges are bright work on the 39. I don't know if they're nickel, chrome, stainless, aluminum. I don't want to get in trouble in the comments section, so I'm just going to say bright work. 40 are body colored, whereas the 41, the hinges aren't exposed. Gravel guards also get bigger with each passing year. Moving to the rear, at this angle, you can see how different the front fenders are. Different rear end bumper designs as well as taillights. Moving inside to take a quick gander at the interior and the dash, all completely different. The 39/40, the gauge faces are different. The 41 is completely different. Which one do you like better? I personally like all of these versions. This is a very gorgeous car. It might be one of the best looking Packards, definitely in the top 10 ever made. It's crazy to even think they may have never even built this. Let's talk specs. 211.7 inches long. It rides a wheelbase of 127 inches. It weighs 4,100 pounds. Price, $4,600, which is equivalent to you spending $100,250.10 in the year 2023. Still cheaper than a 450 SL, just saying. 1940 Packard production numbers. Packard had a stellar year. Just to put in perspective, Cadillac sold 12,984 units. Lincoln sold 22,046 units. Packard sold more than both of those companies combined at 76,927 units, of which Custom Super 8 was 472 units. Of that number, 61 total Darrins were made, and it was broken down into a couple different body styles. You had the convertible sedan, which 14 were produced. The sports sedan, only 2 were produced. Convertible Victoria, 44 units produced. Moving on to engine, only one engine on offer, 356 cubic inch displacement, flathead inline 8. 5.8 liters. It was good for 160 horsepower, 3,600 RPM, an estimated 316 pound-feet of torque at 1,800 RPM with a bore of 3.5 inches and a stroke of 4.6 inches, compression 7-to-1. This featured 9 main bearings, absolute legend, built of cast iron, backed with a 3-speed manual with overdrive. To activate overdrive, according to the Packard Bible, when the car is going over 21 miles an hour, take your foot off the gas momentarily. The wording they use is momentary release of accelerator. To disengage it, this is going to sound completely weird and off the wall. If you floor it, evidently that will put you right back in direct drive. Options, not getting into all of the options, but here are a couple that stood out. Power windows. The 1940 Packard, according to Wikipedia, 180 series is the very first car to offer power windows. The other one was air conditioning. Packard offered air conditioning factory installed in 1940, designed by Henny, which was their coach builder. Henny would build coaches for anybody, but they did a lot of Packards, and their air conditioning system goes back to 1938. All right, let's talk styling. Look at everything that is going on with this absolutely gorgeous design. Starting with the bumpers. Look at how the center part protrudes outwards in that bumper. I love these bumperettes and or overriders with the Packard logo inside them. Super cool. Just look at how they're attached. Absolutely love the fact that there's an ever so slight crease coming up the fenders. Nice marker lights here. I really love this line here. Look at that windshield and how it's designed. Look how it sculpts to the center line. Just look how pronounced this is. The windshield wipers sit up on little pedestals, which is cool. Look at how this hood is designed. Two-piece butterfly hood, and it comes down to the Goddess of Speed. AKA donut pusher. Just look top down at everything going on. There's a lot of different textures, a lot of different levels in this design. I love these miniature grills over here. This grill here. Look at how the headlights are designed. Notice this band here that goes, it wraps clear around and it's textured. Just the level of detail in this car alone is just incredible. Like all of that. This fender to me looks a lot like a Hupmobile fender. What do you guys think in the comment section below? This car does not have running boards. Notice the 3 hinges for the door, gravel guard, rear fender. Just look how clean it is. Gas filler cap is on the right side, driver's side. Nice Darrin badge there. I love the fact that this comes back down into a point as it exits the car. The rear bumpers mimic the front bumpers. Just look at all of the different layers. Look at this. It says Packard. Nice light to light up the license plate light, and it says what it is. Getting in the back, this trunk lid is absolutely heavy. This one's got a lot of spare parts in it, but as you can see, it's a pretty big trunk. Full-size spare back here. Super heavy. Coming up and getting inside, but before we do, just notice the antenna placement right here before the driver's side door. The door handles, very pointy. That would hurt if you got in an accident. And notice this door doesn't open by going down. Push it up. This door panel does not have an armrest, but you can use this as an armrest. Window crank for the big window, and it operates like this. Notice this car does not have vent windows, but this is the same shape as a Nash Metropolitan or a Pontiac Solstice. Same shape, which is weird and crazy. Door handle to get out. Coming down inside the pedal box down here, you have the emergency brake and or hand brake. Over here you have the clutch, brake, gas pedal. Just notice the steering wheel shaft goes in between the clutch and the brake pedal. Take a look at this interior. Here is what over the hood looks like. Here is what first person over the hood looks like. Underneath the steering wheel, there is enough space to put my hand between my lap and the steering wheel. The reason I show this is because if you don't fit underneath the steering wheel,
steering wheel will be in your crotch and it won't be a good driving experience.
On to the button switches and knobs, starting on the left-hand side and moving right. Coolant temperature, oil pressure, speedometer with odometer inside of it. Panel lights, gasoline gauge, amp meter, windshield wipers, ashtray, radio, headlights, starter, lighter, ignition, hand throttle, clock.
Up above, there are no sun visors. Also, just look at this windshield. Look at the angle in which it sits back at you. Trying to show you in relationship my head to the windshield. The windshield goes over it, but it feels like my line of sight is right. The windshield looks like I'm looking right at it. Also, just notice how cramped everything is. Like my knee is very, very close to the dashboard over here. Same over here. It's a weird driving position. On to the glove box test. Here's our test subject. Here's my hand for reference. Here is the glove box in question. It fits in there no problem at all. Just notice the clock back. This one has a clock on the glove box door. Getting in the back. So slide the seat forward, and that's as far forward as it goes. Before getting in the back, because this car doesn't have running boards, it's very interesting when you open the door and this is what you see. Notice it has this lip here, which is rather interesting. Here's what the front looks like from the back. Let's take a real quick gander at the greenhouse. This is what visibility looks like out the rear. This one doesn't have a top on it currently. This is my knee situation. The seat isn't the most comfortable thing to be in because this thing protrudes and this dips down. This is rather upright, so it feels like you're just kind of squatting back here. There are creature comforts such as this armrest back here, and notice the widest part of your arm gets the minimalist space. It's like opposite. But that's it. There isn't any ashtrays. These windows don't go up or down, so when the convertible tops up, this is all just closed. So just take a look at this magnificent straight 8 sitting underneath this hood, tucked inside here. Dual horns stacked on top of one another. Generator down here. I'm not entirely sure what this one is for, but this one down here is the generator. The starter is right here. Steering shaft. Everything looks like it's pretty accessible. The only thing is this fender sticks out, so you have to work past the fender. Coming to the intake side, notice it's got a downdraft carburetor. Just look at how the intake is and the exhaust.
On the positive side, stunning car, timeless design. This is the type of car that if you saw this driving in the wild, you would just stop what you're doing. Time will slow down as it slowly passes you in slow motion. The camera fits in the glove box. These cars are highly sought after, great investment, rare, can be equipped with overdrive. Against it, parts, especially trim parts, are hard to come by. High restoration costs, high cost to buy, own, insure. I'm not sure with the overdrive, this thing might get decent gas mileage, but you could probably throw that one in there as well. All of these are spoken for. They rarely come up for sale, and when they do come up for sale, they command huge asking numbers. I'm talking anywhere between $175,000 to $335,000. Which, if you bought one of these back in the day, that would be a huge return on investment Mercedes 450 SL, I don't think will ever be worth this kind of money. If you're tall, you might not fit in this car. I'm 6'2" and I barely fit. The windshield is really close to my head and it's kind of cramped for the size of the car. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather 2 scenarios today. In the first scenario, would you rather have a 1939 Packard Darrin or a 1940 Packard Darrin or a 1941 Packard Darrin? I'm gonna leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Moving to the second scenario, money, no object. Would you rather have a 1937 Cord 812 or a 1940 Packard Darrin or 1940 Delahaye 135? I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to give the name of the band and song title correctly in the comment section will have their comment pinned to the top of it. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below or check out our Facebook group that correlates with this YouTube channel. I call the Facebook group the After Party. It gives you the opportunity to share your rides, stories, experiences. I wish YouTube would get there. We could have like a community bulletin board. That's kind of what that's what the Facebook group is. If you'd like to check that out, link is in the description. Also, real quick, be sure to check out Bill's channel, Vintage Car History. It's also going to be linked in the description below. Stellar channel. Until next time, toodaloo! I did want to show you this. So this was in the glove box. Shop manual for 1938, 1939 series Packard. And this will tell you everything that you would ever want to know about fixing the car itself. So right here, it tells you lubrication schedule every 2,000 miles. Engine oil viscosity C30 for anything above 32 degrees. And this is a treasure trove of information right here. It tells you how to set the valve timing. It tells you everything that you would ever want to know about this car. Electrical system,